The Poor Man's Miracle. Once upon a time, a poor man was married to a beautiful woman. They never quarreled, as they deeply loved each other and lived a happy life. However, their happiness caught the eye of their rich and handsome neighbor. The rich man was captivated by the poor man's wife and thought, "I must marry her." Every day, while the poor man worked in the fields, the rich man visited his home. "You are a beautiful woman," he told her, "but your clothes are old. If your husband truly loved you, wouldn't he buy you beautiful dresses? Divorce him and marry me. I will give you the finest clothes in the land." At first, the woman ignored him, but day after day, he repeated the same words. Eventually, she began to wonder, maybe he's right. Why doesn't my husband buy me fine clothes? That night, she said to her husband, "Look at my clothes. They are old and ugly. I want new ones." Her husband smiled. "You don't need new clothes," he said. "To me, you are the most beautiful woman in the world." She frowned. "If you truly love me, buy me a new dress." The poor man loved his wife dearly. Though he had little money and needed a new plow, he wanted her to be happy. The next day, he went to the market and bought her a new dress. When she wore it, she was delighted. "Thank you, my dear husband. Now I know you love me." The next time the rich man visited, she showed off her dress. "See, my husband loves me very much." But the rich man smirked. A good husband gives his wife more than just clothes. "Where is your gold? Your necklace? Your rings?" He opened a box, revealing shining gold jewelry. "If you marry me, I will give you all of this," he tempted her. The woman refused. "Go away. I love my husband, and he loves me." Yet the rich man was persistent. Day after day he returned, whispering the same words. Slowly, doubt crept into her heart. Perhaps he is right. Why doesn't my husband buy me gold? One evening, her husband returned home, exhausted and hungry, but there was no dinner for him. "You don't love me," she said. "What?" he gasped. "But I love you more than anything." "Then why haven't you bought me gold jewelry?" she demanded. The poor man sighed. He had already spent his money on her dress. How could he afford gold? "Perhaps my brother can lend me some money," he thought. The next day, he went to his brother and borrowed money in exchange for hard labor in his fields. With the money, he bought his wife gold jewelry. Overjoyed, she wore the necklace and rings. "Thank you, my dear husband. Now I know you love me." Days passed, and the rich man returned. "Your husband gave you clothes and gold," he said. "But can he perform miracles?" "Only God can perform miracles," she replied. "Love creates miracles," he insisted. "If your husband truly loves you, he will make a miracle for you. If you love me, I will make miracles for you." Curious but doubtful, she stayed silent. That night, her husband returned home exhausted. She served him water and a warm meal, watching him with pity. "My poor husband," she thought. "He works so hard for me. The rich man is foolish. How could my husband create miracles?" But the rich man did not stop. Day after day, he repeated his words. At last, she began to believe him. One evening, she sighed. "You don't love me," she told her husband. He was shocked. "But I gave you new clothes. I gave you gold. You are the most precious thing in my life. But you don't perform miracles for me," she said. The poor man was speechless. This is the rich man's doing, he realized. First, he made her want clothes, then gold, and now a miracle? The next morning he went to the fields, feeling helpless. Only God can help me now. He looked up at the sky and prayed, "O Lord, please help me make a miracle. I love my wife and don't want to lose her." As he worked, he noticed a man sitting under a tree. "Who are you?" the poor man asked. "I am a wizard," the stranger replied, "and I have a gift for you." He held out 2 sticks. "What do they do?" the poor man asked. "If you touch someone with the first stick, they will turn into a donkey," the wizard said. The poor man thought of the rich man and smiled. "And the second stick?" "It will turn them back into a human." Overjoyed, the poor man thanked the wizard and hurried home. "Wife," he called, "come here. I will perform a miracle." Excited, she ran to him. "Watch," he said, tapping her with the first stick. Immediately, she transformed into a donkey. She tried to speak, but all she could say was, "Hee-haw, hee-haw." Then he touched her with the second stick, and she became human again. "Amazing," she gasped. "It's a real miracle." "I prayed to God," her husband said, "and he helped me. Now I will punish my enemy." He handed her the first stick. "Tomorrow, when the rich man visits, touch him with this." She agreed. The next morning, the rich man arrived as usual. "Has your husband made a miracle yet?" he asked smugly. "Yes," she replied, and touched him with the stick. Instantly, he turned into a donkey. "Now you can help my dear husband with his work," she said. She led the donkey to the fields. When her husband saw the donkey, he grinned. "Now I can finish my work quickly." For years, the donkey worked tirelessly, carrying stones, delivering goods, and helping the poor man become richer. But one day, the poor man noticed the donkey was old and weak. Feeling sorry, he took out the second stick and touched it. The donkey transformed back into the rich man, but now he was old and frail. "You tried to steal my wife," the poor man said. "That was wrong. Go home and never look at another man's wife again." The rich man left in shame and never returned. But the poor man and his wife lived happily together for many more years. The end.